This is Joe Pugh for IFL TV. We're here at the Outer Net, Tottenham Court Road. Carl, you've just done a big stint on the broadcast there, but yeah, I don't really know where to start apart from what an absolute event, yeah?
Yeah, iconic event. I think that you got the top of the bill, Beterbiev and Bivol, unbelievable fight, 50-50. You can make an argument for both guys winning the fight, but we're going to have an undisputed champion at the end of it, and then you go down to the 5v5, and that's quality. And it's like a cliche, isn't it? It says a 50-50 fight when they're a fight reasonably close, but these are all 50-50 fights when it's really hard to pick a winner. You really have to scratch your head and think about it. But they're all exciting fights too. No really ones that you're expecting to be stinkers or dull fests or anything like that. I think it's an iconic event, and hopefully we just see more and more of this going forward.
What is your pick of the 5v5? What's going to deliver the most?
I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. Well, we're taking the main one out of the picture, but for me, being a former featherweight, I really like Nick Paul, and I really like Ford as well. I think he's a quality fighter. Just in terms of excitement and what I like to see, and skill and speed and everything else, the one I'm most looking forward to is Ball and Ford.
Who do you think should be more confident going into June 1st, Eddie or Frank?
Honestly, I don't know. I really don't know. We're trying to decipher it and work it out in our heads. Who do you think wins? Who wins by knockout or whatever? Really hard to pick someone who you think is definitely going to win by knockout. But in saying that, every fight could end in knockout as well. That's the potential. So I'd say it's like I've said before, it's a 50-50. It really is.
Oh, what was the difference between working with Eddie and Frank during your career, would you say?
I enjoyed working with both guys. I think the only time when I worked with Eddie was I was kind of restricted with how much work I actually did with him, because the McGuigans were around when we had a deal with Eddie Hearn, and I wasn't really allowed to speak to him. So, but since then I've got to know Eddie, and he's a good guy, as is Frank. Yeah, so I've a lot of time for both of them.
Carl, I'm interested to get your thoughts on that speech that Deontay Wilder delivered. When introduced, he sort of had a passionate speech that almost insinuated that, the sinister Wilder's back, like old Wilder's back, he's regained his passion for boxing. So what was your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I think it's a good question. I think you can read too much into some of the stuff that Deontay Wilder says. He probably said similar stuff before he fought Joe Parker, and he didn't put in a performance that matches what he says. But in saying that, he's got dynamite in both hands, and the last thing that goes in a fighter is their punching power. I think that fight ends in a knockout. I can't see it going any other way. One of the issues for the guys is they fade and they die off in the second half of the fight. And someone's going to get knocked out, probably the one that unravels first.
What happens to Wilder if you lose? Or both if they lose?
Both guys, it's a really hard way to come back, isn't it? That would be 2 losses in a row for Wilder. Zhang's 40 odd. I don't know exactly how old he is, but I know he had them couple of great wins against Joe Joyce. Lost to Parker as well himself. It's a difficult position and situation for either guy to be in, but I imagine the age that they're at, they're probably thankful that these Saudi fights are coming along and they get to make a big payday. Like one's in his 40s and the other one's approaching his 40s.
Is Beterbiev and Bivol the most evenly matched boxing fight at the moment in world boxing?
It's one. I've got a lot of people. I mean, depending on who you ask, you can make an argument for both guys winning it, but I'm speaking to some boxing pundits around here, and all of them have different opinions. It's a kind of I mean, Bivol is better on his feet, and I think it would be unfair to say that technically he's better, because I don't know that that's actually the case. I think both guys are technically very good, but they just go about it differently, and Beterbiev is a brute force. I've never seen a man in the light heavyweight division as strong as Beterbiev. Punches seriously hard. Can fight. We've seen him with nasty cuts and he fights through it. We've seen him down and he gets back up. It's an unbelievable fight, really is.
What's your thoughts on Haney Garcia this weekend?
Quality again. I know there's a lot of stuff about Garcia and the things he's been saying online, and maybe his state of mind at the minute, but Someone else made a good point recently that maybe he's just playing everybody because the New York State Athletic Commission have granted him a license to box, and maybe he is playing everybody. I mean, he is, fair play to the kid. But everything needs to be perfect for Garcia to win. Physically, he needs to be in great condition, but also mentally. And whatever condition he's in, mentally, if he's strong, I would still pick Haney to win that fight.
Cheers, Carl. Thank you. Cheers, mate.